Shri Krishna says in Bhagavadgeetha, shreyo jnanamabhyaasaath, dhyaanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe, dhyaanaath phala thyagah, thyagah shaanthiranantharam. Shreyo jnanamabhyaasaath. Abhyasa here refers to practice, external practice, rituals and all the religious practices we do outwardly. These are of course very necessary for life. They add a color to our life, they are a part of our culture, they give us a genuine kind of satisfaction, they discipline our lives. Abhyasa has a very important place in our life. But mere practice, mere ritualistic practice without any understanding, with an innocent belief or out of fear or out of mere love is not enough. It is necessary of course, but it is not sufficient. Shri Krishna intends to say that shreyo jnanamabhyaasaath. Abhyasaath jnanam shreya. More than mere practice, jnanam, intellectual understanding is much more superior. Because as long as we don't understand what we are doing, why we are doing, how we need to do it, or whether or not we need to do it at all, without this type of a logical understanding behind the action, our actions go waste. Or our actions do not really fulfill the purpose, it remains incomplete. How many ever years we are practicing the rituals, never do we really get the fruit of action, or never do we really find a kind of satisfaction through the action, because so long as the intellect, the logical understanding does not support our actions remain incomplete. This is what Krishna intends to say. Shreyo jnanamabhyaasaath. Jnanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe. He goes a step further and says, jnanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe. It is not mere intellectual knowledge also that is ultimate. Above knowledge is dhyana, because intellect or intellectual understanding also has its own limits. What is intellect? What is discrimination? It is mostly based on our innate nature. We have something called the imprints of our purva janma, of our previous lives and this life also. We have our own preconceptions, we have our own likes and dislikes, and we have our own experiences that we get through the senses, through the panchendriyas, the eyes, the nose and ears, etc. What we hear, what we see, what we taste, what we experience through joys and sorrows, how we interact with people, all these things become samskaras, vasanas, imprints on the mind. So based on these imprints, based on these past experiences and based on what we are seeing around us, our intellect works. So intellect again is limited to the sensory world. So long as the intellect is working, we need to understand that we are limited to the sensory world. Only through sensory perception the intellect works. That is why Krishna says, intellect is not the ultimate thing, because real truth, the spiritual truth, spiritual experience is much beyond intellect also. I am reminded of a verse from the Taittiriya Upanishad which says, Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. So that is the plane, that is the state, the Brahman, the supreme truth, from where speech and the mind had to come back without being able to comprehend. So the mind or the speech or the intellect have their own limitations. So intellect is very necessary indeed. We need logic, we need rationality, we need thinking, we need discrimination, so that that dictates our actions, so that our actions do not become mere superstitions or merely emotional outpours. But intellect again itself is not the ultimate. That is why Krishna says, jnanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe. Dhyana refers to meditation. When I say meditation, we need not think that meditation is just a process of sitting in a particular posture with closed eyes and thinking of a particular deity or doing some pranayama. Dhyana, meditation, has a very, very big definition. It has a very large scope of meaning. According to Patanjali Maharshi, that is the 7th step in the Ashtanga Yoga. The first few steps comprise of Yama, Niyama, etc. Yama, Niyama are spiritual or mental and physical disciplines that help us master our instincts. After that comes Pratyahara. Pratyahara refers to gathering all the mental energies which have been dispersed. all our mental energies are completely scattered in this world. Our focus is completely into different topics. So getting back, gathering back all the mental energies is called pratyahara. After that comes dharana. To hold that mind steadfast is called dharana. Once that is mastered, the next step is called dhyana. Dhyana is an unbroken focus into a particular topic. It could be spirituality or it could be some very deep intellectual thought. So dhyana is very important because jnana or intellect is mostly inferential or mostly based on information from outside. But dhyana is more of experience and intuition. That kind of an intuitive approach, that kind of an experiential approach is very necessary to apprehend or to comprehend the higher truths. That is why Krishna says, jnanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe. So what is dhyana? It is an unbroken focus. The tradition gives the example of oil. When you pour oil from one vessel to another vessel, you see an unbroken flow. Similarly, the brain, the mind, the intellect, the conscious is flowing continuously, focusing completely into one particular topic in an uninterrupted way. That is called dhyana. That type of a dhyana, that type of a meditation energizes our conscience, energizes all our potentials, and we generate lots of energy within us, lots of concentration within us, and purity and clarity comes with dhyana. Intellect does not give us clarity always. It may answer some questions, but it is dhyana, it is meditation that gives us purity and clarity and conviction. So this is of most importance for spiritual quest, because spiritual knowledge is very, very subtle. It is not perceptible to the senses or to the intellect, but it is only experiential. That is why Krishna says, jnanaath dhyaanam vishishyathe. Krishna doesn't even stop there. He goes further and says, dhyaanaath karma phala thyagah. Karma phala thyagah. To give away the fruits of action, to sacrifice the sense of saying, I did this or I am experiencing this. He calls it the kartritva and the bhoktritva bhava in Bhagavadgeetha. The sense of I am doing, I am experiencing is a very big block in spiritual experience. It is very difficult to sacrifice this. A man can easily meditate also, he can achieve anything, but to sacrifice the sense of saying that I did something, I did achieve something is the toughest part in spiritual practice. That is why Krishna says, dhyaanaath karma phala thyagah shreshtaha. To give up the fruits of action, to give up the sense of I and the sense of mine, and to give up the sense of saying, I did this, I achieved this. Because even in dhyana, we have something called the triputi. Dhyana, dhyatra, dhyeya bhava. Dhyana is the process of meditation. Dhyatru is a person who is meditating, and dhyeya is the object of meditation. Even a person performing meditation still has the feeling saying, I am meditating, I am doing so. So the sense of I has to completely vanish, and the fruits thereof he gets through dhyana. Even that he has to sacrifice. Only then he has transcended himself, his own limitations. Dhyaanaath karma phala thyagah shreshtaha, thyaagah shaanthiranantharam. Krishna says, the moment we can sacrifice this ego, this karma phala asakti, that desire to enjoy the fruits of karma, it could be joy, it could be even bliss, it could be even divine bliss, whatever, to sacrifice everything and to sublimate into the Brahma Swarupa. Because as long as the sense of I remains, the Atma Bhava, the Deha Bhava, the Jiva Bhava remains, he is still separate from the ultimate state called Samadhi or Nivrikalpasthiti. That is why Krishna says karma phala tyaga is the best thing. That is the highest thing ever. The moment we do that, karma phala tyaga, thyaagah shaanthiranantharam. Then the very next moment we attain extreme, immense peace, bliss and tranquility. So that is the state we need to aim at. Let us try to become karma phala tyagis and achieve the highest spiritual bliss.